WandaVision, episode 7. We are breaking the fourth wall. We are also in the 2000s where they did this year's sitcom was based on they did the old fourth wall burn, like if you ever watched the Bernie Mac show, how like the TV show would go on and then it would cut to him sitting in a chair talking to the camera, addressing the audience. Modern Family, I believe they do the same thing. So it's that fourth wall, conversation, to the people type thing. So which was pretty funny, and it was nice to see like Elizabeth Olsen. She definitely did seem more modern, like when she was talking and she was having her conversations with the fourth wall. She was just very just like, like modern, type of woman. So now in the last episode, they had the whole thing where she expanded the bubble and, she did the whole thing with Pietro or whatever. So she's kind of checked out now. So now she's feeling it from having to expand the bubble and going through all the emotional stuff that she went through. And they said at this point, like Wanda's basically just like, yo, I'm out. She's in bed, she's tired, the kids show up and she's just like, look, I ain't got time for this. And then the kids are just like, oh, are you coming downstairs? She was like, nope. And, then she comes downstairs, she goes to get breakfast. The kids are sitting on the couch. There's something weird happening with her powers where it's taking us through the different time periods. She goes into the kitchen, there's a modern day carton of milk. Then it, like it has like the plastic container with the handle. Then it switched to an old school red container square. Then it went to the old bottle style container. The chandelier was turning into different era styles of chandeliers. Even the kids were playing video games. They went from having a Nintendo Switch to a Nintendo Wii to an Atari to a GameCube. So there were definitely like fluctuations. Wanda's aware of this, but she's just like, look, I ain't got time for this. She's like, I can't even deal with this right now. So she's sitting on the couch. The kids are just like, hey mom, is everything okay? And she's just like, yeah, well, she's like, it's life, and she was just like, personally, she's like, I think shit is fucked, but you guys, she was like, you guys could come up with your own opinions on how life works, but I just want to let y'all know that's where I'm at right now, and y'all can do what y'all want to do. So she's sitting there flipping through channels, like eating cereal. And then, the kids are kind of like freaking out. And once the kids start freaking out, here come good old Agnes. Agnes come rolling in. And then she's just like, oh, how about I take the kids for the day so you can just relax, dear? And then they were just like, mom, but we want to stay with you. And she's like, yo, go with Agnes, man. And then the kids go with Agnes. Agnes takes the kids and then, then they leave. While the kids are at Agnes' house, they were, they were talking. There was a moment where Billy, the one who has the psychic powers, he did say to Wanda, he was just like, mom, he was just like, I'm kind of freaking out because he was just like, there's a lot of noise. Like I hear everything. Like I hear screams. I hear people. I hear people's thoughts. He's hearing the thoughts of people that are all over Westfield. And he was just like, there's just too much noise. And then she was just like, oh, don't worry about it, Billy. And then, later on when the kids were at Agnes's house, he was talking to Agnes. And then Billy had said to Agnes, he was just like, Agnes, like, I like being here with you because you're quiet. He said that there's no noise when it comes to you. He was like, I don't hear anything. I don't hear anything on the inside. I don't hear anything on the outside. So he was just like, it's like Agnes is peaceful. And as soon as he said that, I was like, well, if that doesn't scream villain, like I don't know what does. So then they cut away from that. And again, like Wanda's home, basically just like wallowing in her own self-pity. There was even a moment where she was having her fourth wall conversation where she was talking to the camera, and then she was just like, like everything's going awry, and like the people are scared, and the kids, and this, that, and the third. And then she was just like, I don't know what to do. And then the guy who was behind the camera filming her, he was just like, well, maybe you deserve what's happening. And then she paused. She was like, first of all, you ain't supposed to speak. So even that I thought was odd, but that eventually amounted to something. Anyway, so like I said, so she's home now eating her Fruitios and then just flipping through channels. Monica and Wu, they're on their, they were on their way. And here's another thing. They teased this whole, like the last 4 episodes. There was this person that Monica was supposed to see. There was this magical person that Monica was supposed to meet up with. She was supposed to have a conversation with, and she was supposed to talk to. And everybody online and on social media was like, oh, she's going to meet up with Reed Richards, and it's going to be the fantastic. They didn't even mention the person. Whoever she was supposed to meet up with, they met up with that person off camera. and they were on their way to a different part of the bubble. So there go your your Fantastic Four theories out the window. So she gets to the site, and it's a bunch of soldiers, like soldiers that knew her and knew her mom. They were just like, yeah, we were still loyal to your mom, and we'll continue to be loyal to you. Monica had sent them plans on like some truck vehicle that she wanted them to build. They built the vehicle for her. They kind of made a big deal out of it, to the point where I felt like I should have known what that vehicle was, but again, I'm not a Marvel guy. Like, I never read Marvel comics, so if that truck meant something, I have no idea, but they treated it like it was a very big deal. So she gets, so now she's just like, all right, I got my suit on, so like I got my chemical suit on, I got my truck, she's about to drive that bad boy right into the bubble and blow that bad boy up. So she gets in, she goes driving head first, she bumps into the bubble, she can't get through. She starts forcing her way through, the truck gets halfway through, and then it gets pushed out. She falls out of the truck. Half of the truck turns into like an old pickup truck, and the other half is the truck that she wanted. So then she just gets this epiphany now, and she's just like, yo, I can go through this mug. So then she takes off the suit or whatever, and then Woo immediately knew what was going on. He was like, yo, this bitch about to run in the bubble. Woo was just like, yo, don't do it. And so of course she did it. So she goes pushing herself through the bubble, and while she's pushing herself through the bubble, different versions of her, like the version of her from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, started showing up. Her eyes started glowing and turning different colors. And she was hearing, and then like there were voices in the background, and those were the voices of that was dialogue that they pulled from Captain Marvel, from Captain Marvel conversation. It was Nick Fury. It was like young Monica saying like, oh, maybe I'll meet you in space, Mom. And then it was Nick Fury saying, not if you can fly like your Aunt Carol. And then Carol, Captain Marvel, she was just like, oh, when they gave your mom when they were giving away babies, they gave your mom the strongest one. And then your mom, then her mom said something to her like, oh, like, you're my biggest inspiration, something like that. So she was just replaying like Captain Marvel dialogue in her head. And so then she comes out on the other side of the bubble, and as soon as she comes outside on the other bubble, her eyes are blue, she's glowing a little bit, she's looking around the town starts glowing. I'm like, well, now she's in DC terms, now she's a meta. So Monica has powers now. We don't know anything about these powers, what they could do, but she got power. And this is because, like Darcy said in the previous episode, because this is Monica's third time now going through the bubble. The first time was when she got sucked into Westfield to begin with. The second time was when Wanda pushed her out of it, and then Darcy said to her, she was just like, yo, your molecular structure has been altered twice. So she was just like, I wouldn't recommend you going in there third time. So she goes in there third time. Now she all messed up on the inside. And like I said, and I feel like she has superpowers now. So she ends up, so now that she's in the bubble, she ignores the fact that she has superpower, which is weird. Because the thing is, your eyes are blue, you're glowing. I'm like, I know you feel it. Like, I know you feel what's going on. But apparently she was just like, she just ignored it. And then she ran to Wanda's house to go talk to Wanda. Vision wakes up on the floor because remember, he passed out in the last episode and he's now in the circus because Wanda had turned the entire Sword base into a circus base. So now, and just like everybody else, like all the circus people, they're brainwashed. They don't know who they are. They think they're really circus people and they're going on with the circus act. Darcy was handcuffed to a truck before she got sucked into the bubble. So when we see what happens to Darcy in the bubble, Darcy's now completely chained up. She's like chained up from like head to toe, and she's chained to a truck. So they called her the escape artist. She was the escape artist in the circus. So then the Vision walks around and he's just like, oh, he walks up to Dawson and he's like, oh, you remember me? And then she's like, nope. He was just like, no, but last night we made a connection. He's like, it was unspoken eye contact. And then she was just like, hell no. And then she walked away. And then he ended up using like his Vision mind power to snap her out of it. And then when she snapped out of it, she was like, damn, I wanted a guest star role on WandaVision. She's like, this is bullshit. And then he was just like, hey, who are you? And then she's like, I'm Darcy. And then he's just like, do you have the answers that I need? And then she's like, yeah. So the two of them steal a car and then they go driving around. I guess they were going to Wanda. They were either going to Wanda's house or they were trying to get out the bubble. I don't know which one it was. So Vision was asking her questions. He was just like, hey, what happened to my children? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, what's with the fake Pietro? And she's like, I don't know. And then, she starts telling him the story about, because again, Vision can't can't remember anything that happened to him prior to going in the bubble. So he was just like, hey, what happened to me and Wanda? And then she's like, well, Thanos killed you, and then Wanda brought you back to life, and she brought you in the bubble. Then he was like, why? Then she was like, first Wanda killed you, and then Thanos killed you. He's like, why would Wanda do that? Then she's like, you asked her to because you were trying to save the universe. And then it was this whole thing where she's just like giving him the rundown. I don't know how Darcy knew all this, but because I don't think the events of the Thanos snap that happened in Wakanda was worldwide public knowledge, but whatever. so wherever they were trying to go, like I said, they were either trying to leave the bubble or they were trying to go to Wanda House. Wherever they were trying to go, they kept getting blocked. First, they tried to take a certain road. There was construction. Then kids showed up. It was clear that someone was trying to prevent them from getting to whatever it is they needed to go. Even Vision had a fourth wall moment where he was just like, hey, what Wanda's doing is preposterous and it's totally, totally ridiculous. And then he's just like, why am I even talking to cameras? I'm supposed to be going after my wife or whatever. So then Vision got mad because, like I said, like they were trying to, like they were being blocked, like the kids were blocking them from crossing the street. And then Vision's like, look, anybody got time for this? And then he just used his power, flew out of the truck, and then just took off and left Darcy sitting in the truck. So Vision, like I said, but I don't know if Vision's trying to get out the bubble or if he going to Wanda House, but wherever he going, he left Darcy on the side of the road. So now, Monica now, she goes back, she gets to Wanda's house. And then when she gets to Wanda's house, she busts through the door and then she's just like, Wanda, it's all about Vision. Everything that happened was about Vision, because Monica had found out that Hayward, your boy Hayward, the general, he was trying to bring Vision back to life. And she was like, this whole entire thing is about him trying to reacquire the Vision asset. So she was just like, Wanda, it's all about Vision. And she's like, don't say that name to me. And then she was just like, don't let Hayward win. You're not the bad guy. Then she was like, what if I am the bad guy? And then she's like, it's not you. And then she's like, I'm gonna blast you, bitch. And then she actually she blasted her and took her off into the sky and then dropped her. And then when Monica hit the floor, you saw like a blue light come under Monica, which braced her fall. And then her eyes lit up again, and even Wanda was like, oh shit. So I'm very unclear if Monica is aware of the fact that she has powers. Did she have these powers before the bubble? Or is it one of those things where she does have power, but because of everything that's going on, she's just ignoring it, and she's just ignoring the fact that she has power, and she's just focusing on the task at hand? That was very unclear to me, but like I said, obviously the girl got powers. So her, so then she tried to talk Wanda down. She was like, listen, she's like, I lost somebody too. I lost the most important person to me, but she was just like, I can't run from it because it's a part of my life. It's a part of my story. It's a part of my truth. And then she was just like, don't do this. Like, don't let the evil win. And then Agnes come creeping her ass out the window like, hey, what's this? And then she runs outside and then she's like, Wanda doesn't have time for your foolishness. And then she grabs Wanda and then she runs away. And then Monica was just like, Wanda, you got to take the bubble down. And then Wanda was like, don't. She's like, don't make me hurt you. And then Agnes drags Wanda off to her house. So they get to her house. Wanda's sitting on the couch. Agnes is like, oh, let me make you some tea. And then while Wanda's sitting in the house, she's just like, okay, 2 plates with two peanut butter jelly sandwiches, 2 cups. There go the rabbit in the rabbit cage. She's like, yo, where my kids at, bitch? and then Agnes was like, oh, maybe they're in the basement. So Wanda goes into the basement. And then when she goes into the basement, it's a total horror show. There's like purple vines everywhere, purple magic. She goes down, she's walking around, she sees like a purple book, like some magical purple book. And then Agnes come out of nowhere and she's like, ha ha ha, it was me all along, dear. And then she's like, I did it all. And she's like, you thought you were the only magical person in the city? Like, she's just like, no, and now I'm gonna take what I desire. And then and then she used her power, and then because whereas like Wanda's power is red, like whenever Wanda does her power, it's like a red little thing. Agnes's power is purple, and now we know Monica's is blue. So she used her purple power around Wanda's brain, and you can tell at that point she put Wanda in a trance, and now Agnes is controlling Wanda, which I feel like Agnes was doing all along. Agnes was the one who, because my whole thing was, if Hayward was trying to turn Vision back on so he can use Vision as a weapon, how did Wanda know where Vision was and where to find him? I feel like Agnes found out Vision's location. Agnes mind controlled Wanda and sent Wanda to go get Vision's body. Brought Vision's body back to New Jersey, created the bubble, and then once she created the bubble, Agnes basically went in the bubble with her to try to manipulate her. And my whole thing, and I said this before, I've been saying this since the beginning, Agnes is trying to get her hands on them damn kids. Even from the beginning, in the first episodes, Agnes was always talking to them about having children. Once they had children, Agnes was always right there to help the kids whenever the kids needed something. You know, she was there with the doghouse. You know, she was there to take them. You know, she was there for everything but the trick or treating. So, you know, but Agnes was always there, and everything Agnes did always involved those children. So, of course, she snatched up the kids, and now she's controlling Wanda as well. And I don't know what Agnes's plan is, but now she got a hold of Wanda. They even showed a montage of everything. It was funny because they gave her like a little Munsters theme. It was like, it was Agnes all along, and it was just like this montage of all the stuff Agnes did. You know, all the stuff from behind the scenes where she was behind the camera during the fourth wall. She's the one who created Pietro and sent Pietro to, you know, to the house. You know, she was the one that was controlling the black dude when he was at the picket fence. So Agnes is behind everything, and we're led to believe now that Agnes is the big bad, but we don't know what her end game is because the episode ended before we had a chance to find out what her actual point is. But like I said, my theory is her whole purpose of controlling Wanda was for Wanda to have was to manipulate Wanda into getting a happy ending in a family so she can get her hands on those kids. And that's where we're at now. So now Wanda and the kids are under the control of Agnes, and Vision's on his way back, I guess, to save his family. And then in the final, because there was an end credit scene. In the end credit scene, it shows Monica. Monica basically went to Agnes's house. She went around the corner to Agnes's house, and then she tried to get into the basement. And then when she opened the basement door, you saw those purple vines and everything, that purple magic. And then she looked, and then your boy Pietro shows up, and he's just like, "Oh, bitch, you snooping?" And then after that, the credits roll. So we now have 3 magical powered individuals. I don't know if the next episode is the last episode or if we're getting one more, but the final showdown is going to be a showdown between, it's going to be Agnes versus Wanda, where it's the purple power versus the red, and then Monica going to show up in the middle with her blue power, and then she going to shut it down. But the show is very good the show is very good at giving you something and nothing at the same time. You know, like, we know now that Agnes is the bad guy, but we don't know what her plan is. You know, we don't know the situation with Monica's power. We don't, you know, again, like the whole Pietro thing seems to be going nowhere. All these multiverse theories that everybody's coming up with seem to be going nowhere. Like I said, because they told us nothing. We don't know who Monica met up with, you know, and she's been talking about that for the last 3-4 episodes too. So definitely a lot of unanswered questions there, but also a lot of intrigue as well. So let me know in the let me know what the hell's going on. Like, tell me what you think is going on. Now that the curtain's been pulled back a little bit more, let me know what you think is going on. What's going on with Monica? What's going on with Agnes? Is there someone bigger than Agnes? Is Pietro just a creation of Agnes's wild imagination, you know, or is Pietro actually like something bigger? You know, does Monica's powers show up in the final episode? Like I said, you know, and where does Hayward's role play in all this? Because Hayward, he had the point where he ready to blow up the whole bubble anyway. So we'll have a conversation and we'll talk about it. So again, thanks for tuning in. Check me out on the Tacos and Geek podcast that I do with Sean, Justin, and Gotham Geek Girl Nadia. We actually have one coming up this Sunday, I believe. I'll definitely post a link for that in one of my videos when it goes live. Check me out on social media, you know, Twitter, Instagram, definitely on YouTube. Leave comments in the YouTube section because, again, I answer all the comments in the YouTube section because I love talking about all this superhero goodness. We got Batwoman coming up on Sunday. Superman starts on Tuesday, I believe. We got Superman coming up, and as always, we got that Black Lightning. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and for all this WandaVision craziness. Until the next episode.